This episode is dedicated to the legacy of the incredible man that was Mr. Bill Tanzosh. In early 2023, I was fortunate enough to have been contacted by Bill's daughter Gail, where she was very excited to, in her own words, give her dad some well deserved time in the limelight. After working at a meeting time, it was a chilly mid February Sunday morning that I was finally able to shake hands with and meet one of the true legends of the Nazareth Speedway. On your screen now, you see a rarely shared candid photo taken by Gail on that fateful day. While it's unclear to me if this picture was taken during recording or during one of our several insightful off camera conversations, this is a picture I'll forever cherish, always remembering the moments spent together hanging on his every word. In late October of the same year, Mr. Tanzosh unfortunately passed away. It wasn't until his services that I had the pleasure to meet the entire Tanzosh family and be welcomed in as one of their own. It was also at this point that I was informed one of his final memories was sitting for hours talking racing with me, recording this episode, and taking me to see his former shop and championship winning car. I was also told that this episode was played countless times in his care village so that he could help teach his friends the story of his esteemed career. Following his military honors, we raised up a wrestler's market peanut as a salute to the incredibly humble and gracious man that we all shared the honor of getting to walk this earth with. While my time with him was limited, it wasn't any less meaningful to both Bill and myself. Mr. Tanzosh was 83 years old. Last time on the Old Historic, we sat down with all-time Nazareth Speedway winningest driver Jack Zeiner and heard how the early spark of his career came in visiting some of the cars that his father had hand-lettered. One of those cars was the number 4, the Tanzosh Special, driven by just plain Bill Tanzosh. A career that started in helping jumpstart one of the most famous careers in all of motorsports history, soon leading into his own driving career, seeing 4 Nazareth Speedway track championships and several feature wins both at the Nazareth Speedway and Northeast beyond. Today, for this 4th installment, we sat down with driver number 4, Bill Tanzosh, to hear the story of his lifetime of memories. Let's hear from one of the most famed careers at the Nazareth Speedway. Let's head into the Old Historic. Nazareth, Pennsylvania. For over 100 years, it's been my family's home. But stemming past my roots, this quiet little Lehigh Valley town plays host to some of the greatest racers in both the Northeast and even the world. I'm Kyle Morris, lifelong Nazareth resident and avid race fan. Join me on this personal journey as I head into my backyard to discover some of the best untold and most well-known racing stories. From weekly Sunday night battles to a legendary family and even an up-and-coming generation of talent, you never know what you're finding. The Old Historic. Hello race fans, welcome into this 4th episode of the Old Historic, and today I'm honored to be joined by the original driver of the number 4, a multiple-time Nazareth Speedway track champion, Mr. Bill Tanzosh. Mr. Tanzosh, thank you for joining me this morning.
You're welcome. It's been some journey, and it's good to look at some of the old pictures and compare to the new pictures.
So I'm having a lot of fun just sitting here going through it with you, and I know that's a lot of what we're going to do today, guys. We have a ton of pictures here and a ton of great stories from this man, so we're just going to go through them a little bit and kind of document it here as part of this series. So before we get into your racing career, I know you have connections to our first interview guest, Mario Andretti, and his brother Aldo. So tell me about how you got involved with them.
Well, it happened that my road car, an old 39 Plymouth, 4-door sedan, I stored in a garage of the original sponsor of Andretti's number 7, and so forth. Upon parking in the garage and climbing out, and there sits a race car, and they were having some difficulty getting the transmission back into the car. And here I knew it was wrong when I asked them, what's happening. They didn't use the pilot tool for a transmission stub to center up the clutch disc as you install it.
Right.
I happen to have a tool at home. I asked them to sit still, take a break. I drove up to my shop, come back with the centering tool, and I helped them do it the right way with the proper tools.
Right.
And next thing you know, I was ending up helping Andretti's on their car for that year, and so forth.
And then you kind of helped them, but so when did you get into your racing career? I know we were saying it would have been what, 1959, 1960?
Yes. But we only went to races, and that was because of the snowstorm and the lack of a completed car. We ended up with this car here.
Okay, yeah, so we have your start in 1960. I know you said you did just 2 races that year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what we had from that, your first full-time season would have been 1961 then?
It was attempted in 1961.
1961, okay. And that was all with that first car then, right?
No. This here went till 1963. This here side changed to 1962.
1962, okay.
Then we did this here with this body, because we had to change the body to be a hard top roof.
Is that a safety concern then, I assume?
Let's say it again.
Just out of a safety concern, out of track rules?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. But, I mean, the thing about, these first 2 cars, I know you said it's on the same frame, it's just a different body, correct?
Different body and roll cage, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So in the transition there, so from 1961 to 1962, in the transition to those cars, did you face any challenges in that, or was it just kind of putting a new body on and going?
Say that again?
Were there any challenges in transitioning to the different body, or did you just kind of put it on and go?
Well, no, we had to put a brand new cage in, and actually we went full. Middletown went with carburetors. Nazareth was with a single carburetor there.
So you had to change that nightly because, Middletown on Saturdays?
That's what I was just going to say. We were racing Saturday nights at Middletown, New York.
Right.
With 5 carburetors. Came home, had to change the engine, change the use of fuel engine and carburetors for non-Nazareth. We had to move back to become, had to be here for competitive, had to slow down here in Nazareth.
I know one thing you and Mel Stetler were telling me about too was at Nazareth they ran pump gas. So that was a little bit of a challenge for you guys.
Well, that's the main thing. You needed more intake with the more carburetors, and then you need the more fuel. So you got to put another tank in, and it has a electric fuel pump also, not the mechanical one, like on a regular engine.
Right.
Yeah, that would be that.
So from those cars, then we had you said two limited sportsman championships, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then after that in 1963, I know you were saying you didn't race your own car. You were helping out on a car known as the Triple Nickel.
Yep.
So you were helping on that car, helped build that car, and then relieved the driving duties on that end. And that was when you started to build your next car to run. You said the Tri-State.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
running.
Yep. Because I borrowed the headers and everything from Jerry from Scotty Fashions.
Okay. Yeah, Ty
Because
Scott.
he was president of the um, I just said it, of president of
Tri-State.
Tri-State.
Okay. And I know.
We even drove the car there
Mm-hmm.
that it didn't have a motor in it,
Right.
but just parked it there, let the fence say, oh, there's one soon to be there, and so forth. We did stuff like that. So, but you don't have to mention that. We had our hands full with building our own car.
Right. So building your own car, then you ran the Tri-State Challenge, and then you went back to Nazareth.
Went back to Nazareth and well, mostly Nazareth.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed done. I stopped being a rocking chair,
Mm-hmm.
going here and there, for and so forth.
So then you kind of settled in and made Nazareth your racing home,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So then after that, we transitioned into this next car, correct? So this picture here we have dated 1973.
Yeah,
so
that's these two cars.
Yep. So that was another Tri-State car
Yeah.
there, right?
They don't. Yeah, we don't have to say that these are two different cars.
Okay.
Although they are, they look like it.
Mm-hmm. Is it the
Yeah.
same frame that you guys used on that, just different bodies?
No. Yeah, what happened to that one?
I know you said about one of the cars you sold.
Oh, that must have been the one before that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, well see how far back the driver is?
Right, yeah, you're basically sitting in the rear seat.
Now, we were racing against more engine setback,
Uh-huh.
okay? That's because this was a rear end, it had too much rear end traction,
Okay.
okay? For the other combination that was, the right springs and so forth, and like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was becoming more and more popular. Was shock absorbers with springs on.
Right.
We tried that. We tried several things.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I said, well, looks like I better get my act together and try and I put a concrete floor on Kevin Collins' father's house on Cherry Hill Morrison Road.
Right.
And I had him build me a car.
Yep, so that was when we transitioned to the Kevin Collins car. So that being this one here, I see this picture dated 1980. So from what we said, this car led you to 2 track championships at Nazareth, right? 79 and 81 on the Kevin Collins car that won the track championships. Yeah. Okay. So from the Kevin Collins car, then we transitioned into, was it this car here that we went into?
Yeah, but that's just the same frame.
Okay, it's the same frame, it's just a different body?
We used a different body.
Mm-hmm. And this is the car that you still have in your garage today then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that car, were there any track championships on this car, or was it, kind of at the Kevin Collins car in this fashion at least?
It's all, this is all Kevin Collins free car. What? Coney shock absorbers.
Mm-hmm.
1 year. Leaf springs another year. Torsion bar another year.
Right.
Okay.
So it was all just making the car more modern.
Changes.
Uh-huh.
And so forth.
So that's what led you to this car. So is this your final car then?
Yeah, that's it. If you're gonna come to the shop sometime or whatever,
Oh, definitely, yes.
yeah,
This is the final
yeah,
car right here.
it looks a lot rougher there than
You got it all shined up now, taking it to the mall shows and that. So, no. So I know you were saying that final car you built after the ones we just looked at. It was the 444 car. So that was another car you built. So they were telling me some of the stories about that off camera. But what made that car so unique for you guys?
Well, it wasn't easy. It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to try and tell the person that too much wing is too much wing. Which this happened with the 444, along with Ron Weber of soldering and so forth. But they proved to him by uh, driving his car and cutting the 10 or 12-inch swat out of the uh, homemade pic, call it the drag air or so.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely wanted the wing in, and I said too much wing is too much, and so forth. So finally, come to last race of the year, and I figured I was done anyway for the year.
Right.
I took the sawzall, started on one side, and went to the other side and cut out a swat of body metal.
Yep.
Across the back and sideways up across the front or both sides. Closed it up, lowered it, and so forth. And we ended up finishing in the teens, I'm sure,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. But unfortunately, it was the last race, or perhaps
Right.
A good car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was slightly a little heavier than what was being built and sold,
Right.
and so forth. But once they took the wing out of it, it became a handleable car.
I know you said it drove like a brand new car for you, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was to get ready for. I know you said like the bigger races, like your 100-mile race, your 200-mile race, things like that. Yeah.
Well, that's what we did with it,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth.
Yep. It's crazy just how the changes like that made it basically a completely new car for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you have any major memories in that? You know, the one question I always ask all my guests on this show is when I mention the name Nazareth Speedway to you, what's that one memory that comes to mind when you hear Nazareth that right away you think of?
I mean, the big track.
Well, big track, small track, anything that comes to mind with Nazareth Speedway, yeah?
No, it was just for us, a rep smarter. We were always behind time a little bit.
Uh-huh.
We wanted a fresh engine, bought a shed. Yeah, you could say it. The cylinder heads were used
Mm-hmm.
from us, but like with Syracuse and so forth, we broke an engine also.
Uh-huh.
I broke one at Nazareth. Well, they just bought clean house when your pocketbook suffers.
Yeah.
In fact, you can tell this one here had the injectors,
Uh-huh.
the big gas tank.
Right. So looking back at your career then, I know we covered the cars. Is there anybody crew member wise that you want to attribute a lot of your success to?
Well, there's two main
Mm-hmm.
people, basically. Actually, three.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the physical help at the shop and so forth, the main thing is Jake Wiersma and photographer Mel Stetler. They're instrumental in for having late hours, walk outside, look up, see what the moon is at, and see how close we are to the time it is what
So
the
looking at
third man basically would be Kevin Collins with some pretty good help to get my act together and do some winning, which we did 6 at Nazareth, 1 at Middletown, New York, and so forth.
when you say that, you're talking about your championships, right?
No, yeah, it's two modifieds chassis.
Okay, the chassis. Okay.
Well, not car, chassis, or whatever you want to call it. And that was mainly Kevin Collins' right-hand finger for that. It's like, here it is.
Right.
It's yours.
As far as driver-wise, was there anybody that you liked racing? Maybe you didn't like racing? I know you had a lot of fierce battles. We were talking Tommy Hager. Yeah. Who was it that you really enjoyed racing against across all of your years?
Well, certainly we liked the limited sportsman time, but you had to be realistic. The original idea is to end up, hopefully, running modified for Nazareth and so forth. There's a lot of pros and cons of competition and so forth, so we're going to let that alone for now. All had tangles, which were my fault, perhaps. And
call those racing deals, though, right?
Call it oops is what you call them.
Oops, okay. Closing, looking back across your career, are there any lasting memories or anything that you really want to pass on and emphasize as a part of this series, from your time at the Nazareth Speedway?
Well, one of the worst things that could happen is have a crash on a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
On a crash. And waking up on the Tuesday afternoon and then the St. Luke's Easton Hospital, wondering what am I doing there.
Right.
But these things happen. We try our best. Like a lot of people else that tried, I said we all make mistakes now and then, but there are a lot of representable, good drivers, those that can do it and those that can't.
Right, definitely. And I like to think, looking at all this, you were definitely one of those who can. We said about not necessarily having the most ahead of the time technology, but I mean, stuff you guys got done in these 6 cars was pretty impressive, to say the least. So.
Well, we were a usable person with making a car last for all these years and so forth. Actually, the last car from Kevin, the chassis and whatever, that was 4 years. Of course, we had to fix it, but we got it back together and had some challenging time remaining yet.
Yeah, definitely. I know you were saying too, there's a lot of memories made, a lot of great people met, and I think, in a way, that's what racing's all about, right?
You gotta agree with me and say, yes, sometimes it's bad, but other times, most of the time, you got good friendship around you, and so if anything wrong happens, they're there, just like we are to charge people learned noise and
Mm-hmm.
involvement of saying, well, do it.
Yeah.
Nice to be, have the experience and so forth.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mr. Tanzosh, I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much for meeting with me, showing me, across the stories of your career. Guys, for great motorsports content like this, more to come here with the Old Historic. Stay tuned to all my social medias and that linked in the description below. For Kemo on YouTube and the Old Historic, my name is Kyle Morse. Once again, saying thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time in the Old Historic.